Good morning, good evening, good night, and welcome to Passed on Your Crown podcast. And I'm your host, Pattie J. Today's episode is titled Breaking Chains, Healing from Substance Misuse in the Black Community. And I'm going to introduce you ladies or gentlemen to a special guest. Today, her name is Brittney, and she's a brave substance misuse survivor who has overcome incredible challenges. Despite her struggles, she has remained strong and resilient. And Brittney is not only a dedicated mom, but also a talented singer. And join us as we speak about her trials, how she got through it, and all of those great things. Now, Brittney, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Good evening. Hey, everybody.
So I like to start my episodes off with thorns and roses. So when you say something positive that happened in your week, and then something negative that happened in your week. So positive is the rose, negative is the thorn.
Okay. What happened positive in my week? Well, I've been waking up every day. That's
Amen.
positive.
Mm-hmm.
Negative. A little miscommunication with somebody that I'm close with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll share my rose and my thorn. Rose, I'm gonna copy your rose. I woke up. That's a good rose. And also, I've kind of overcame some procrastination I've been fighting through. A thorn would be I went to the doctor to check my wrist. They're trying to give me surgery for my wrist. That was my thorn. We're gonna fight through that.
Right.
But let's just dive into the first question. What was your life like before everything? I know you're a singer, but outside of that, what are other things you were into when you did?
I mean, regular. I mean, I'm very social. So, I'll always be out. I was never really a party kind of person, but I would go to get-togethers. I would go to gatherings. I like to do things actually. I like to bowl, shoot pool. Yeah, I'm pretty much I'm a big foodie.
You just like me with that.
Yeah, I'm a big foodie. But yeah, I mean, life was pretty much low key, pretty regular, pretty low key.
Okay. Did you experience any childhood trauma?
No, thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah, thankfully I never experienced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did any traumatic event lead to your substance misuse, or was it due to any peer pressure at the time?
It wasn't really necessarily anything traumatic. Just personal things that I was dealing with that I did not necessarily know how to cope with. So, and then a big part of that actually was because my misuse, it started off with pills, oxycodone. I actually got that from my doctor though. So I was getting that from my doctor for 5 years.
For pain, was pain management, or you just?
No, I faked the injury. I told him I hurt my back and was getting them. And I was ordered for physical therapy, stuff like that. Never did it. He never checked. So every month I was just getting my script.
Okay.
So yeah, you very easily became dependent on it.
So how did you find out about oxycodone? How did you know to make a fake injury to receive it?
When I had my C-section with my daughter. That's the first time I had it.
Yeah. So what was do you remember the dosage that you were taking?
Oh, it was 5 milligrams.
Is that small of a dosage?
Yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking it would have to be
Oh, no, 5 milligrams. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep, 5 milligrams.
Do you recall?
Sorry, I told you about these changes.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I know the lights is not making it any better. What are the misconceptions about individuals struggling with substance misuse?
I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people think that, people use because, well, I'll start by saying this. I know the reason why a lot of people do, start using substances, alcohol, whatever, usually from something traumatic that happens in their life. Just going through things that you necessarily, you just don't know how to cope with. Especially something that you don't want to feel, because that's the main reason why a lot of people, people, they take drugs. They don't want to feel anything. They're trying to escape a feeling that's uncomfortable, for them. And before you know it, you're neck deep.
That's true. I think when I think of the misconceptions of it, I think people tend to forget that people that misuse sometimes are normal, regular people. People that go to job, people go to work, people that are, take care of the children, different things. And I think people have the misconception that you can see someone, look at them physically, and know that they're doing something.
Yeah.
And you don't. Not all the time is it visibly on a person's face.
To be honest with you, it depends on the drug.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That I will personally say. But then it's like kind of when you've been down that walk of life, it's like you know. You know what I mean? It's like I know. I know one when I see one.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been through a place like that, you know what to look out for and things like that.
Right. Oh yeah, but like back in the day, the women, they be in the house, they got their volumes and they, you know what I mean? They
I feel like back in the days, I feel like back in the days that was a thing, but it wasn't it was just like it was like a little party drug. Like, all right, cool, we in the party, we doing this.
Oh yeah, your everyday, please, your everyday people, doctors, lawyers, your everyday people. They use.
I learned about the white powder because the job I was in at a point in time, a lot of my coworkers was doing that, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
But then I did, like, one of my coworkers I pointed out, like, notice how chipper they are, and I was like, they do definitely. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, right.
And then you could tell when they're not on the white stuff because they just
Yeah. You see now,
now it's like the down from it.
Yeah. You see now that's the thing. Like when you trying to sit there and hide something, you got to make sure you consistent.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You got to make sure if you're gonna do it, you got to make sure you do it. But yeah, no, everyday people, people. It's just different. It just affects people. It affects people differently.
And I always think of, like, when I do see someone, like, on the street that you can visibly see that they're on something, I think about their life and I feel bad. I'm like, dang, like, what if something happened in their life that really, like, affected them and they just didn't know how to cope with it?
Yeah. I feel that way too. But I'll just say, like, my situation, my journey hasn't been a walk in the park. What I will say, though, is I'm not big on asking for help, and that was something that I had to change in order for me to receive the help. I had to change that. I had to surrender myself. I had to, like I can't worry about what this person. I'm big on, what are they gonna think?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But the help is there.
Yeah,
as long as you ask for it, it's
I
there.
think it probably comes from a space of being in fear of judgment.
Yeah, I used to feel like that. I'm so not like that anymore.
I'm proud. I'm glad you're not like that.
Listen, everybody, for me personally, being open and stuff, it's just a burden off my shoulder. Off my shoulders. It's a weight off of my chest. It is what it is. I've been through a lot, and I don't mind sharing it because there's people. There's people that's going through things, and number one, they feel like they're the only one that's going through it.
That's true.
And no, like, there's nothing wrong. Like for instance, like the whole mean girl thing. Like, that is so played out. I was a mean girl when I was, but no, I believe in empowering and uplifting my fellow woman. You know what I mean? Like, no, we are all people. We all we got to lift each other up.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna share the good, bad, and different just to give a little glimmer of hope to somebody that it is possible. It's definitely possible.
And then it's also, like you said earlier, it's easy for you to fall into that situation because you got it from a C-section. You're dealing with pain from having a baby. That's a lot of pain. So who knows that you would have fell into that situation in the beginning from that. Yeah. Like, so many women probably are going through that and don't even realize they're going through that.
Yeah. Probably. Like, it was like a little gap in between, my C-section and stuff when I was like, I kind of missed that feeling. So it was kind of like a gap, but I found a way to get it.
Okay. So my other question, which you kind of already answered, was, did you misuse while you, before you became a mom? But you said it was after.
It was after. That. Yeah. I mean, before I became a mom, drinking, chilling, little party drugs.
Like socially.
Yeah, socially. Yeah, okay. It wasn't a problem until, much later.
When you after you did figure out and realize that you had, I don't want to use the word, but misuse of the substance. When you were mothering, did you ever feel a sense of guilt or like you felt like you were being like selfish in a way because you were going through it, or you just didn't think about that at the moment?
Nah, I didn't think about that because everything was taken care of. Everything was good until it wasn't. My misuse with the pills, that has been over and done with for years. But I had actually gotten myself into a little bit of trouble. So what happened was I became so dependent on these pills that I was getting from my doctor. When that script ran out, now here I am getting a script that's supposed to last me the whole month. After a while, after 2 weeks, you know what I mean? It's you taking the bottle and you trying to get the powder out of there. It's crazy. So I was on the street. You know what I mean? I met a few people. I had to get them elsewhere. I had to get them outside on the street. That led me into some legal trouble. Luckily for my addiction saved me because I had got caught with possession. I had got charged with possession. Got charged with conspiracy. They always say don't talk on the phone. Don't waste too much talking.
Don't talk on the phone. That's what they say. They listening to you. They listening.
Yeah. So, but it was actually my addiction that saved me because I was looking at 4.5 years in state prison.
What?
Yeah, because of the quantity that I had, and it was crazy. Luckily, I got a paid lawyer thanks to my family. Very good lawyer. She was able to work out a deal for me to do a program instead of jail. Because this girl has a problem. What's jail gonna do?
Thank you.
Yeah. So she was able to work that out. I had to go to the pharmacy where I was getting my script for all them years, get a printout, gave it to her. She's able, Judge, look at this. Look at all these years. Look at every month of the year, all these scripts.
Yeah.
Nah, she needs help.
Thank God for your lawyer.
Thank God.
That actually cared. Your lawyer sounds like she actually cared.
Oh yeah, she's a good one.
Because some lawyers just be like, it's the money, it's whatever. I'm not going to go too hard to figure that out.
No, she's
the fact that she went the extra mile.
She's in New City, New York. Her name is Beth Finkelstein.
Thank you, Beth.
Right, thank you, Beth.
Yeah, because she got you the help. She didn't just let them.
Yeah, she got me the help. So, I was, like I said, I was, I had legals. So that also lands me on probation. So now I really need to stay on the straight and narrow. Course, yeah. So I was in an outpatient facility. I completed the outpatient. Abstinent from the pills. Now what happens? COVID come along. Ooh. So I basically did what they call switching seats on the Titanic. Now alcoholism runs in my family. I have it on my dad's side of the family, and my mother's father was alcoholic. So I started drinking, like drinking. And I was, it got crazy. It basically got crazy. My PO, she's like, no, you're not supposed to be doing this. She's trying to force me to go now into another program. But I was sliding by here and there, sliding by until I couldn't slide no more. Long story short, I'm in program and I'm just sharing. I'd rather drink in a house than to be out bar hopping and stuff like that. Counselor called CPS on me.
What?
Yeah. Counselor called CPS on me, thinking that, I'm in the house, I'm bugging, I'm getting drunk, I'm getting tore up, my daughter's there, nobody's taking care of her. Oh my God. Never the case.
But you never even said anything about your daughter.
Well, no, they knew I had a child.
Yeah, but you never said, I be in the house drinking, my daughter be right here.
Yeah, right. Why did she can't be at a family member's house?
Why did she feel obligated to do that? Was there a reason? Did she ever say? Did you ever find out?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, she did. I'm going to put it like this. My drinking was a problem. It was a problem in the sense that it was starting to affect other areas of my life. I mean, my household cool, always made sure there's food in the house, we eating, nothing, no type of neglect or anything like that. And that's what they got me for. That's what they claim. I was emotionally neglecting my child. But it was only an investigation in the beginning. I ended up hurting my back. I have 2 bulging discs in my back. Wow. So I had ended up getting a script. So what happened was they came to my house to do a random. ran some urine analysis, and I tested positive for oxy and alcohol. So once they seen that, and they're like, "Oh, and you have a child in the house." I understand the things that can happen.
Yeah.
Thankfully, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happened. That took me. That's where everything, like, I was like, oh shit, okay, no.
Yeah, because your baby. It's your
My baby. That's my baby.
And how did you feel when you were going through that process of CPS being all in your face and
you know what? In the beginning, I was like mad. I was really mad at myself because it's like all I had to do was to stop drinking for however long period of time. I think probably like a month and change. It would have been the investigation. It would have been over. They would have closed it if there was no findings of me still using. But it saved my life.
Do you feel like it was like a blessing in disguise?
Oh, absolutely. At that point in time, absolutely not. I was angry. I was angry. I was pissed off. I was pointing the finger. I did not take accountability. I was making every excuse in the... Oh, but look at my daughter. She's always together. Oh, she's always clothed. She's always clean. And never a hair out of place. My house is clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
for them, they looked at it as deeper.
They looked at it as deeper. And they had every right to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that time, you and I discussed outside of the pod that she was with family, right?
Yeah. Yep. My daughter, she was with family. It took all of 5 months for me. She was with family. I had to go see her once a week. We got to see each other in the local Department of Social Service building. That sucked. I had to go see her once a week. Then it went to twice a week. Then it went to her being able to come to the house as long as my mom was there or my grandmother, brought her. The process moved very quickly because I was on my job. I said, okay,
your baby.
That's mine. Of course, she's in the most perfect hands with my mother and my grandmother, but that's not their child. That's my child.
Yeah.
They did their job. My grandmother raised my mother raised me. How dare I? And then my grandmother was dealing with, stuff on her own. It just wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. I wasn't raised like that.
Yeah.
So
it's still a blessing that they were able to support you because some people don't have that support.
That you know what?
Your child.
That's
amazing.
That's another thing too. Why substance misuse and why people slip, they go back and they say the opposite of addiction is connection. Right. A lot of people don't have that support system. They don't have anybody. I'm so blessed to have a family that cares, that loves, that does not judge, that I ain't gonna say I ain't never pissed them off. I ain't gonna say, I ain't, make them, sleepless, have sleepless nights and worry about me and stuff like that. But, when it was time, they're there.
Yeah.
So I thank God for that because things could have went totally left.
That's true.
She could have had to go with somebody. My daughter could have had to go with some random person. That would have broke her mentally, emotionally, every type of way possible. I know how she is. She would not have taken that well. But my family wasn't letting that happen.
Yeah, of course. And did you ever have a conversation with your daughter on how she felt during that time frame?
Yeah, I did.
Did she? And what did she feel?
I'm very open and honest with my daughter. She knows when I went through. She missed me, to say the least. Your kids are gonna love you. Your kids, they gonna love you no matter what. So she just expressed how, she didn't like when I would, drink and stuff like that. And, she missed me. She missed me, to say the least, She missed being in her element.
Yeah.
Her own room. She had her own room at my grandmother's house, her own space and stuff, but
it's not her.
It's not her space.
Yeah. Okay. If you haven't, well, we already got on that one where you said you spoke to your daughter about the journey. For other people that are watching that may be going through what you're going through, do you think there's a particular age that you should express to your child what you may have went through or what you're going through?
I think that's totally at the discretion of the parent. Everybody raises their children differently. I'm very open and honest with my daughter for many reasons. excuse me, because I want her to know she can always come to me. You know, whatever I decide to, you know, talk to her about, you know, that's my business. You know what I mean? But I want her to have a clear understanding because I don't want her to make the same mistakes that I made. You know, so I've always been very open and honest with her. Because then now that lets her know that, I could go to mommy. You know,
Yeah,
and I could trust that mommy's gonna tell me the truth. Like I even told her, when you get older, you have questions about stuff. Don't be asking your little friends, these people in the street.
True.
No, some of them's gonna be secretly hating. You don't know what kind of agendas they have. Your mother, I'm always gonna have your best interest at heart. You come and talk to me. You come and ask me.
I think for me, I feel like people should have conversations with their children in general, not just only about substance misuse. It should be about everything.
Everything.
I think people got to understand that your child is going to get exposed to things that you don't know when you're not around.
They already are.
So it's better you get ahead of it
different.
and you have the conversation.
It's not like it's not like our generation.
It's definitely not.
Totally different. We didn't have, I didn't get on Facebook until after I graduated from high school. Maybe years after that. I graduated from high school in 2006. I don't think I made a Facebook page until like 2009.
MySpace was a thing. Skonex, those type of things.
Skonex.
Those type of things was what was really out there. But
yeah.
And with MySpace, you couldn't really do much. All you could do is make your little page.
Have your little
top five.
Right, your top 8. That's the top 4. Who got the number 1 spot? That's all you have to worry about. Why ain't in your top 8? You know? That's all.
Or AIM. Little stuff like that. AIM was monitored.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even say or do certain things on AIM.
Yes.
So wasn't it like a jail you go into? Like an AIM jail or something like that? Which social media was that? Where you get in trouble for saying certain things and doing certain things.
I don't know.
I can't remember which one.
Well, now we know that's the blue app now. I don't know. I don't remember.
I feel like everything is so exposed today. Like the kids have even the fact that I could go on my phone and see a video of somebody being unalive. That alone shows you that we have no decorum at all.
No respect. It's like
a person could pass away and it's like their family's like, please don't share this. And people are still sharing it.
Right. Or it's like you see something happening to somebody. How do you have the heart to sit there and record it and not do nothing about it? That too. I mean, if somebody falls, I can never get to my phone quick enough. Because if somebody falls down a whole flight of steps trying to catch the subway, I might want to record
little funny things like that. Fine.
Yeah,
a dog chasing somebody down the street.
Right,
fine.
Right.
But it's getting crazy. Like even when it comes to even with substance misuse, you'll see somebody recording a person on the floor.
Oh yeah.
ODing.
Oh yeah.
Call in an ambulance.
Yeah.
Something. Like you find joy in looking at people suffer.
Some people do.
And I think for me, I'm just grateful that my parents didn't grow me to ever look at somebody bad. Like I've had people in my family that has alcoholism. I have an uncle that he was on, the rock. And things like that. And even though he was going through that, my mom never let me turn my nose up at him.
Right. No.
Like, oh, look at him. No.
Right. My thing is you don't know. And it's funny that you say that too, because, there's a little bouginess in the substance misuse community.
Really?
Right. I was one of them. Well, yeah, I pop pills, but, I ain't, I'm not using heroin or,
That would make sense.
I'm not
like probably the
crack.
soccer moms, like, girl, I'm just on a little,
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, all of it is,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To some degree, it's still the same, even though it's far different. The reaction from it.
Yeah. All of it could destroy you. All of it can.
Could a person overdose from opiates or?
Can they? Absolutely. I got out in the nick of time because, now they're cutting it with fentanyl. Oh. Now, these pills out here is fake. There's fentanyl in grabba.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and all you need is a little... it's crazy right now because heroin actually is not even heroin anymore. It's straight fentanyl.
That's crazy. So the videos of the people that you would see of them in weird positions and things like that is from the fent and not the... Or is it both? Maybe?
I would say it's from fentanyl. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, the potency. You see, for me with the pills, they gave me energy. Okay, I was like Superwoman with them pills. Let me pop a pill. I'm going to the grocery store. I'm cleaning up my whole house, every closet in the house. I'm doing my laundry. Dinner is cooked. Everything in about a half hour, 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's what it did for me. Now you'll see other people that take opiates and they nod out You know, it just depends on the effect that it has. You know, on the body. Everybody's body, I guess.
But seeing as you just said you were able to do all of those things in like 30 minutes in your mind, was it legit happening in 30 minutes, or you thought in your mind it was happening in 30 minutes?
I was just being sarcastic.
No, because I always think in my mind, like, if the person feel like they're moving fast, are they really moving? Like, on the outside looking in, is that person moving fast? Or is it just in their head they're moving fast?
No, I was over exaggerating. But long story, but the point I was just trying to make is that it just gave me that spurt of energy to like, let's take on a day. I'm ready, you know? To the point where before I did everything, let me take another pill. Oh, I gotta go do laundry. Let me take another pill. Oh, I gotta go to the supermarket now.
So you're looking at like a Red Bull. That's how you probably seen it as. Yeah. Even with that, you can get addicted to that too. At one point, I was taking Red Bulls. Like, I like the taste of it.
I love Monster.
And I like the jittery feeling I had with it. But then I had a friend of mine, he was saying to me, like, that's dangerous. You take too much of that, you're going to mess up your heart.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I have it'll give you heart palpitations. I've experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the CDC and all these people making all these substances, why don't you make something natural and pure that a person can use? Right. I mean, they got matcha powder now. That's something people have now been getting into.
That. Yeah.
But like, they need to put the same energy into something that actually can help give person energy that's less chemicals.
Of course, but why would they do that?
That's true. They would have no jobs.
Yeah, why would they do that? You know how much money will be, you know how much money will be lost? Yeah. It's crazy. Everything's about money.
I be looking into herbs and stuff now. I'm like, yo, what herb can you use for this? What herb can you use for that?
Well, that's funny because every herb has a purpose. You know what I mean? Every herb is for something. Oh, you got a headache. Oh, you got an ingrown toenail? Take this. Yeah. You know?
The only thing with that too was funny with the herbs is when I was starting to look more into it, you can't mix certain herbs with other herbs. Like, you can't mix this root with that root. Because if you mix that root with that root, you're going to mess up this one. I'm like, yo, dang. Like, you got to be very particular with your percentage, with everything with the roots as well, and the oils.
You know what? It's funny. Because everything is a business now. They're not going to stop. Not like, Big Pharma, please. You know how much money that company has. They're going to keep these
That's why we need to go back into our roots.
Yep.
Especially African Americans. Go back in our roots. Let's get the ancestor books that got the little remedies for the little things. Right. And let's really, like with me, I try my best not to use Tylenol. And like, I really have to be in some serious wicked pain for me to take some Tylenol.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to feel, like for me, I feel like I noticed that when I take, as a little kid, I would always feel like I smell something different when I take Tylenol. It's weird. Like my nostrils would feel funny and I'll always get tired. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. And my mom used to always say, nah, I'm not taking that. From a kid, I used to fight taking medication.
Wow.
Because I didn't like the feeling of it. Something as foolish as that. But even with my daughters, I try to give them like Edelberry, things like that, the more natural things. They be fighting me for it, but
yeah.
Because like you said, Big Pharma is a company. They're going to make their money.
Yep.
No matter how they're going to make
keep it. That company ain't never dying.
And it's funny because I seen a documentary of, it was opiates. I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it was, I don't know if it was Oxy, it was something. And it was a lot of parents speaking on the fact that in the beginning, like what they would do is certain pills would be made for certain things and people would use it differently. And then it would trigger something else.
Right.
Like whether the pill, let's say the pill is for your hair. A person may take the pill, thinking it's for your hair, and then end up using it for something else.
Right.
So I'm like, that's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy. Even, okay, so there's what we have, what's called MAT, medically assisted treatment. So that's like medications that help people coming off of substances. It'll help with, withdrawal and symptoms and stuff. A lot of them, they like keep the cravings down, like going forward. Like I take some. And the medications, it's weird because I have I used to have problems like sleeping, So I have a sleep medication that I take as needed. Sometimes I fall asleep perfectly fine. Sometimes I have a little bit more trouble, so I take my sleep medication. Okay. My sleep medication, if you take it during the day, it is it's used as a antidepressant. Like it works as both. I ain't never took it during the day because I don't need to take it during the day. But yeah, these medications are all, even
specific times.
Right. That's crazy. Some of the same,
and it's like, how does your body know? Like,
right, exactly.
It doesn't make sense. Like, it's light outside. My body's gonna register light, antidepressant, night, sleepy time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if you work nights? And during the day, now you're tired. It's time for you to go to bed, and you're gonna It's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, the medications, there's like a lot of medications that is used for like different things, and it's the same medication.
But then what also kills me is that when you take medications too long, I heard it can mess up your stomach lining.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then what do you do for the stomach lining now?
Oh, take another medication. And then when that one,
take another one for that one
for the side effects of that
one.
Liver,
the liver after the heart, the big toe. It's like you gotta take something for something. And then what kills me is that I'm sure that a lot of these people that are working for Big Pharma and the CDC, FDA, don't take half the things they tell us to take.
No. Half of them don't, and then a lot of them got a whole lifetime supply.
Mm-hmm. It's either or.
Yeah.
Like a doctor telling you to stop smoking cigarettes. And the doctor on their lunch break will take a cigarette smoke.
Right.
A cigarette break.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
But what helped you overcome your substance dependence, which we kind of already got over? But was there other things, other factors that played a role? Like, did you go back into church? Did you do any of those things as well?
To be honest with you, it was just that healthy fear. It was just my daughter. My daughter's my world. I love her to death. She get on my nerves. She's supposed to. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I wouldn't do for her. So that was the initial drive behind it. Mm-hmm. That was the initial drive behind it. And then being around it, being an outpatient and stuff. I was told, like, this is back when like I said, I haven't, been indulging, in the pills in years. Mm-hmm. So this is back then, and people were telling me that I should go to school. Like, Brittney, why don't you go to school to be a counselor? Or, I'm a people person. I like to talk to people. Mm-hmm. I like to help people. Sometimes I can't even help my doggone self, but I'm ready to help somebody else. That's just, that's just me. Mm-hmm. So once I saw, like, oh, this recovery thing really does work. If you work it, it is possible. Mm-hmm. And seeing so many... I was incarcerated in 2017 for 6 months. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends, some of them were older women too, that I met in there, they all, they were heroin addicts. Wow. And all of them died. All of them that I was friends with. Between 2017 and 2022, all of them died.
Wow.
Good handful of them, 5 of them.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, nah. Now, of course, part of, that happening is, their lifestyle. They wanted to continue to live their lifestyle. Mm-hmm. One of them actually, she had came to stay with me for a little while. She needed a place to stay. She was staying with me for a little while, and she was sober. She was sober like over a year. I don't know what happened. One day, she goes, she had went to moved into a sober living home. Okay. One day I don't know what happened. She got her hands on a bag.
Wow. And it just takes that one moment.
That's it.
Wow.
It was too much. And she passed away. She overdosed.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, nah. This is, and I know I can help somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I said, you know what? No, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to school, and, this is what I want to do. This is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. I'm 36 years old. I've had so many different jobs and stuff. Now I've finally found a career.
That you're passionate about.
Oh, yeah, that I'm passionate about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you were incarcerated and the women were on heroin, were they able to still have access to some of those things while they were there? Or
no.
Okay.
Nah, they weren't, No, they weren't.
Because the movies will have you thinking that people
well, listen, yeah, I wasn't up north or nothing. I was right in the county jail in Rockland County. Ain't nothing coming in there. So
it all depends on the security.
Oh, yeah. Depends on the security.
Because, like I said, in the movies do have you thinking that somebody got friends up with one of the correctional officers.
Right.
And they have them pulling something in real fast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure stuff like that happens. There, I'm not sure. It was so small,
But then
possible.
With them being heroin addicts while they were there, they were basically sober while incarcerated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when they came out, it's like they immediately went back for that fix after.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy. It's all a mind thing. I couldn't. I smoked cigarettes. The jail I was in is no smoking. I couldn't smoke. I was in there for 6 months. As soon as I got out, first thing I did was went and brought a pack of cigarettes. When it's like, girl, you haven't smoked in 6 months. You know,
And
like
cold turkey at that.
Cold turkey at that.
Did you feel the difference when you went in cold turkey and they had everything away from you?
Hell yeah, I felt the difference.
What was the difference like? What did you feel?
Oh, please. I was aggy. I was irritated. In the beginning, I was, that was the most thing I did. The two things that I most, was pissed off about, there was no smoking and there was no soda. Yeah, there's no soda. Like, we had commissary and stuff, but you can only get, like, Kool-Aid powder, iced tea powder. Yeah. Juice is cool, but, sometimes you just
ginger ale. I love ginger ale. I don't know if it's Caribbean in me, but ginger ale is, like, my thing.
You
so
just
I definitely
need
feel
that soda sometimes. You need that carbonation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, with you only being in Rockland County jail, did you see anything crazy that people have on TV? Like, what's the show called?
Orange is the New Black?
Yeah.
No.
So they have you have the whole different.
Now listen, I'm gonna tell you something though. See, but prison is totally different from jail.
Okay, so can you share that, because I don't know.
Well, yeah, prison is totally different from jail. I mean, you have it's a different aesthetic in prison. You go to jail before you go to prison.
Okay,
if you ain't getting out. So like. RCJ, Rockland County Jail, was like a playground. It was nothing. I mean, of course, you you told when to go in, you told when to come out. Aside from that, what you do is sit in front of the TV all day. There wasn't really much to do. Prison is different. You have they got school, they have programs, they have, you get more I don't want to say free time, because you don't got nothing but free time in jail, period. But, like more movement to move around. And, you got the day room. You can sit out there and play cards. You can do that in jail, too. But, it's totally different. Prison is more, there's more of a risk. Something going down in prison than in the jail.
And it's also, the jail is smaller than the prison, correct? Or I guess bigger, so you have more access to be behind something and they don't see you doing something.
Right.
Do you think you could have handled prison?
Yeah, I think I could have. Would I have been scared out of my mind? Of course. I've been through so much things. There's nothing. It might have bruised me, but ain't none of it broke me. So there ain't nothing. And that was like the hardest thing for me to go through, because my daughter was 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
So being away from her for 6 months.
Baby. Yeah.
I saw her twice. She came to see me twice. And oh gosh, I broke down both times.
I can imagine.
So it was, I went home like a month and change after, maybe a month, a little shorter than a month after her 3rd birthday. So I was, and it's funny, we were watching TV one day. She's like, "Mommy, I thought you said you were in school, but look at those are the same people that was there." Like the guards and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's crazy how kids don't realize until they're older. Like, hold on,
right? What school is that,
girl? And why do we always say school?
Yeah, right.
Oh, they up in upstate going to school.
It's funny, and I ended up telling her. It's not when she was 3.
Yeah.
But years after, I said, Jada, mommy was in jail.
But it's cool that you're transparent with her, so you're letting her know, like, things happen.
I want my daughter to know that it is okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. It is okay. Nobody in this world is perfect.
Someone does the same thing.
I would love to see a perfect person.
That part.
Nobody is perfect. You don't even have to be perfect to be the president.
But see, the unfortunate thing is that now everybody is so into social media today that everything seems like glitz and glamour. Everything seems like, oh my gosh, this and that. So that's the crazy thing about our children I have to worry about versus us. Us, we got to really see things. We got to really be around. We got to really be outside.
Right.
Our kids don't know what outside really feels like. Don't know what outside really is.
Right. No, they don't.
So, we got to just make sure we monitor that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Social media influences a lot of people that deal, with substance misuse anyway. Also, you see people, especially, like videos whatever. You see people, they out, they partying, they popping pills, they doing this, they doing that, they buying bottles, they popping bottles, and people is thinking like, that's the life.
Yeah.
Now look, there's some people that can be social, partakers.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
There's some people, they could go out to dinner, they could have a glass of wine, or they could party on the weekends, and then Monday through Friday, it's straight work. And there's some people that can do that. But
it's funny because with me and in my group of friends, I feel like everybody always be like, "Oh, Patrice, but you white?" Because I'm always like, we don't gotta always drink every time we go outside.
Yeah,
we don't gotta always get a hookah every time we go outside.
Right.
Like for me, I feel like I'm the grandma of the group, and I'm okay with taking that stance because I'll drink my one little drink and have me a good time in the corner real fast. Because for me, I feel like I pay attention a lot. I'm very like hyper vigilant. I pay attention to everything around me. So if I go to this spot every 2 weeks, I'm in this spot and there's one person's in here buying a bunch of bottles every single time, that person has a problem.
Yeah.
And then when I start talking about problems, everybody in the table is like, "Girl, we in the club. Shut up. We don't talk about no problems."
Yeah.
I be feeling bad. Like I know that person got a problem. I want to talk to them. I be wanting to go to people and have a conversation. Like, "Yo, you want need somebody to talk to? You going through something? You okay?" And security gonna take my ass out so fast. Like, leave these people alone.
Right, leave them alone.
But I think that just comes from me wanting so much to help people with their mental health. Like.
Yeah,
so I analyze everything.
I'm true, even in the Black community, because mental health and stuff like that didn't really start getting buzz, quote unquote, until like the past couple of years.
Of course,
because
the pandemic is I feel like what highlighted it the most.
Yeah, and then right, and then in the Black household, there ain't no such thing as no mental health. You know what I mean? You don't got no what? You don't have, you know what I mean? You don't have no problems, or no. Let's sweep that under the rug. Let's sweep that under there with it. Mental health issues doesn't exist.
It's true.
And now that it's here, it is very well. It is very well. Here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It exists. It exists, and it exists in more people than you think.
The only thing about the downside I'm noticing with mental health and things of that nature is that for some reason, some people are I can't use that rules, are taking advantage of mental health. Like
using it.
Yeah, they'll use it for everything. Oh, I don't want to go to work today. I must be,
I'm taking a mental health day.
Yeah, like I must be depressed. Yes, you can be. I'm not saying you can't be. But maybe you just are being lazy and that's okay. You can be lazy.
Right.
Screw it. And not everything, this is why I feel like for me, I want to get really in tune with mental health and educating myself more about it so I can help other people, because we need to understand the seriousness of it so we can understand what is mental health and what's not. So we don't blur the lines and it becomes a big joke. Because some things turn into a joke after a while.
Yeah, listen, mental
health... And it's not a joke.
No, it's not. Mental health is real. Mental health has caused... People that deal with mental health has caused them to unalive themselves. People, they're so overwhelmed with the thoughts and stuff, and they don't know what to do, and it's overwhelming. It's too, you know what I mean? It's too much, and it's because the negative stigma is such a negative stigma around depression and what are you depressed for? It's a negative stigma around people with mental health problems.
That's true.
I
don't know if you've seen a video of Kai Cenat. What's the rapper? I forgot his name.
Kodak?
Yeah, when he was clearly going through something.
Yeah.
And people was laughing. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the things he was doing was hilarious. But for me, because I'm a person that's so heavy into mental health, I felt bad. Like, he's really suffering.
Orlando Brown too.
I'm sorry, I'm not interviewing that person without at least knowing, after, we're not interviewing nothing. We're going to give each other help. We're going to sit down and look out for you.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to have a conversation with you and a therapist on the couch so we can have a real conversation with you. This is not a joke. This is people's real lives.
Yeah.
What he's going through, what he was doing, people were making a joke of it. This is why I say, this is why, again, mental health, people take things as a joke.
Yeah.
He's obviously misusing whatever he's misusing, and we're taking it as it's funny. It's not funny.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's sad. See, but then that just goes to show with this people thinking everything on social media is all glitz and glamour. Yep. Oh, look at Kodak Black. He's a rapper. Oh, he got
money.
Right. That don't mean nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That means nothing at all.
They say more money, more problems.
Yeah,
we miss that.
problems. Right.
And we don't. And our generation, the newer generation, don't take anything serious.
No, they don't.
That's why for me, I'm always my children. My daughter, older daughter, be like, "Mom, you always have a long lecture." I have to. Because I want you to understand, like, yo, it's real crazy. The stuff I had to deal with is not the same stuff you got to deal with. You got to deal with some real tough things now.
Yeah, it's different.
I'm terrified for my kids.
Yeah, me too. It's scary. It's scary times that we're living in. And it's like, we've seen this world go through so many stages, so many changes. Like, it's crazy.
And we was worried about the world ending in 2013? That's the time.
What was that?
It was
the
like
millennium.
Yeah, it was like 2030. It was like the world's gonna end, and I'm really afraid that the world is. I'm terrified. The things that are happening. When our parents used to say back then, "God is coming," I truly believe He's coming now.
Oh, He's coming in.
And if you don't get right with God,
you're gonna be left behind.
I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrified.
Yep.
But you said you were in school. Let's get back into that. How's the journey been? How long have you been in school? When are you going to be graduating?
Well, I'm finished with. So I started school January 4th of 24. I finished December 17th of 24.
See right there. That's good.
Yeah.
So let's hope the summer.
No, I finished.
Oh, you finished already?
Yeah. This was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Last year I was in all while, because like I said, I was an inpatient. So all while I was an inpatient, I was also in school. I mean outpatient. I was in school.
Okay. So you used your time wisely. Yeah.
I mean, I was in outpatient 5 days a week. I wasn't working. So I went to school. I went to school. I had to get it's 350 hours. To be what's called a KSAC-T. Okay. So I am an assistant substance abuse counselor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to the viewers who are struggling with this? And how could they work towards overcoming it?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you want something bad enough, you're gonna go for it. You're gonna go to, any lengths to get it. That is definitely a must. That's where it starts. You have to want it. You have to want the help. And you can't want it for nobody else. You know what I mean? You can't want it for anybody else. You have to want it for yourself. So that's number one. And, ask for help. Ask for help. Everybody needs help.
That's true.
Everybody needs help, So ask for help, like really dig into yourself, change your surroundings. Maybe it's the surroundings. Maybe it's the people you hanging around. Family is not excluded.
True.
It's you have to really pay attention to your surroundings, period. But think about what happens or what's happening in that very moment when you feel like, oh, I want to smoke or I want to shoot or, you know what I mean? Like, think about what's happening in that time. And then, possibly you can find a way to, to diverge it or try to, find something else to do to distract you or... that's another thing too. It's not easy. It comes, but they say move a muscle, change a thought. So, there were times like early in my recovery when I was thinking about like, oh, when I want to use, right? And then they say, oh, tell yourself, oh, I'll do it in 10 minutes or something like that. And then next thing you know, 10 minutes done went by and then you're doing like totally something else. You know what I mean? You don't forgot about it already.
It's like you manipulate the brain.
Yeah, manipulate the brain.
Over there.
Yeah, manipulate the brain.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, you got to ask for help. If you have a problem. Everybody got problems. I don't know why. I try my very best to be as honest and transparent as I can. Everybody has problems.
Especially being Black in America
is a problem in itself.
Hello.
I mean, I'm not with that putting people down, making people feel less than and stuff like that just because they're going through something or because they don't have this and they don't, you know what I mean? I'm not one of those type of people. I don't like it. I don't like to see it be done around me, in front of me. No. I'm letting people know that I had a problem and I overcame the problem. And this is, was it hard? Heck yeah, it's hard. It's the everyday, it's an everyday thing. This is a journey for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be on.
Yep.
I'm gonna be on a journey for the rest of my life.
I think that's good because people that are viewing, it may be somebody that's watching this episode that will think about that and hear what you're saying, and it may hit. I hope it makes them understand, like, it's okay. Everybody has gone through something. Everybody has had issues. Just ask for help.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it sounds hard, but
and whoever.
But you see, but the thing, listen, this is the thing though. Like when, like people that use, right? They'll ask somebody for some money now. If they don't got enough money to get what they want, you know, what they need, they're going to ask somebody for some money. So you're going to ask somebody for some money, but you're not going to ask somebody for, help. You ask them for help in other ways.
Yeah.
Same thing.
That makes sense. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And I also feel like for those who, when a person comes for you for help, give them that help. Don't give them the whole lecture. They know. If they come to you for help, they know.
And then if you can't help them, say that. Don't be giving nobody to run around. Don't be trying to lead people up. Don't do that.
I'm gonna call you back. Don't tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Let them go seek help.
Let me tell you something. No, look, and that's another thing I learned too. Boundaries. Very big on, in my recovery, I had to set certain boundaries and I have to stick to them.
Yeah.
And one of them was sometimes saying no. Like I said, I always want to help people. I can't always help people.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I gotta make sure I'm straight. Yep. I gotta make sure I'm straight so my daughter's straight.
Yep.
And sometimes, and majority of the time, that don't include helping. I have a good heart and I will always help if and when I can, but I will overextend myself a lot.
Yeah.
And doing that puts a lot of expectation on me. Yeah. And that in itself is, that's enough to make somebody want to, feel like, oh, I want to drink, or, you know what I mean? Oh, this is too much.
Yeah,
or,
overwhelmed.
You know what I mean? So, I also learned to no. There's nothing wrong with saying no. And no is a complete sentence.
No explanation needed.
No explanation needed. No.
So true.
Yeah.
Because I find myself feeling like when I say no, I have to give a reason why.
Yeah, it's funny. You don't. Yeah. You really don't.
Yeah.
You
don't always say no.
And it's I feel like that too because I'm a people pleaser. I don't want to let nobody down. I don't want, I don't want to disappoint anybody.
It takes a long while to remove yourself from that people pleasing way. I'm in therapy. Like I have changed my therapist now because, and I told my therapist, stop me from saying yes.
Right.
I'm tired.
Right.
I'm tired. Please. But that was our last question. Okay. I thank you for coming. It was an amazing episode.
Yes, thank you for having me.
In my episode, I like to give affirmations to people just to help them through. I have 3 positive affirmations to go with this and go for this journey. Anybody listening, things like that. First one is, I am in control of my journey and I have the strength to overcome challenges. Number 2 is, I deserve support and healing and I am open to seeking the help I need. And the final one is, every day is a new opportunity for growth and positive change in my life.
I'm with all 3 of those affirmations. They're all very, very true. Mm-hmm. And, they resonate with me. I agree with them wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
I think those are good.
And I have something for you.
What's that?
I wrote something down as well before I gift you what I'm about to gift you. Okay. But today I want to celebrate you and your incredible journey. And I have this crown for you. And it symbolizes me giving you your flowers while you're here. Aww. I'm proud of your strength, resilience, and the beautiful person you are becoming. You have faced challenges with courage and determination. And I'm so proud of how far you've come. You've not only overcome your struggles, but you also are stepping into a new role to advocate and help others. And that's truly inspiring. So this will be gifted to you at the end.
Thank
you.
And
that's it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you for coming.
No problem.
And for those who are watching, if you like my content, follow, subscribe. I have Instagram, TikTok. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all those fine things. I am Pattie J is my personal page. Passed on Your Crown is my business page and our podcast page. And if you like what you're seeing, come back. I would love to see y'all here. I appreciate y'all. I love you all. And goodbye.